Hey everyone, we are the Group 6 and today we are going to tackle about behaviorism. So what is really the meaning of behaviorism? So behaviorism is based on the idea that all behaviors are acquired through the interaction with the environment and learning occurs through the association between a stimulus and our response. So learning is defined as change in behavior and the change is a result of conditioning. So behaviorism is a theory in psychology that explains how people learn based on their environment at binibigyan din ito ang pagsasanay, pag-uulit, gantimpala at parusa bilang pangunahing paraan upang mahubog ang kanais-nais na asal at karanasan ng mga mag-aaral. So there are important people who contributed to behaviorism. First we have is John B. Watson. He focused on observable behavior and take note that he is the father of behaviorism. Next we have is Ivan Pavlov. He is known for classical conditioning. And B.F. Skinner, he introduced learning through rewards and punishment, which is the operant conditioning. And lastly, we have is Edward Thorndike. He explained that behaviors followed by good results are most likely to be repeated. In education, behaviorism is commonly used in the classroom. Diba, teachers use rewards like grades, praise, stars, or tokens to encourage good behavior. And sometimes they use punishment to correct actions. Because of this, the students learn through repetition and experience. Another example is reward or reinforcement. When you get something good, you repeat the behavior. Example for this is you study hard, then the result is you get high grades or get praised by your teacher. Then you study again. So in this case, you repeat the behavior. And in punishment, when something bad happens, you avoid the behavior. Example is you are late, then you get scolded by your teacher. Then the next day, you try not to be late again. So in this case, you avoid the behavior. And according to behaviorism, learning is a change in behavior. And this change happens through a process called conditioning. And the types of conditioning will be discussed by Melody Vermont and Trina Inson.
Now let's talk about the types of conditioning. First, conditioning is the classical conditioning, and the second types of conditioning is the operant conditioning. But before we explain the two types of conditioning, we prepare a short skit for you to be able to understand what's all this about. So please do watch the videos. Neutral stimulus. At first, the bell is just a sound, so it doesn't make anyone hungry. Pairing the stimulus. Now every time the bell rings, it's followed by lunchtime. Conditioned response. After several times, the student begins to connect the bell with lunchtime. Now let's talk about the classical conditioning. So the classical conditioning is discovered by Ivan Pavlov. So learning occurs when a neutral stimulus is paired with a conditioned stimulus to produce a conditioned response. So what is this neutral stimulus? So ang neutral stimulus, ito ay ang bagay o tunog na walang kahulugan sa simula. So, halimbawa ay yung tunog ng kampana. So, yun ang neutral stimulus. So, sa simula, ito ay walang epekto sa tao or sa estudyante. So, ang pangalawa naman ay yung tinatawag na conditioned stimulus. So, ano nga ba ang conditioned stimulus? So, ang conditioned stimulus, ito ay ang kapag nasanay na ang dating neutral stimulus, no? Yung neutral stimulus to yung kampana, ay nagiging conditioned stimulus ito, no? Ibig sabihin, kahit walang pagkain, ay ang kampana ay may kahulugan na, no, sa or yung bell, no, may kahulugan na siya sa as estudyante. So ang condition response, so ito ay yung condition stimulus that produce, no, a condition response. So ano nga ba ang condition response? So ang condition response, ito ay ang kapag yung estudyante, no, na pag nakakarinig na siya ng ring ng bell, ay automatic na nagugutom na siya or nakakaramdam na siya ng gutom. So, yun ang tinatawag na condition response na nagkakaroon na ng tugon yung dating neutral stimulus. So, I hope na naiintindihan ninyo ang aking tinalakay tungkol sa classical conditioning.
Morning class. Morning okay lang po. Bago sana po sa Salamat ay may ito ang katanungan. Okay, tanlay. Magaling tanlay at dahil translate word ang matatanggap. Thank you po, teacher. You're welcome. This is positive reinforcement. A reward is given to increase behavior. Your assignment. Good job, class. At dahil kayo ay nakapasa sa takdang oras ay wala kayong takdang aralin sa araw na ito. This is negative reinforcement. Something unpleasant is removed to encourage behavior. Bakit mo nakapag-narito? May tatanong naman ako. Ako wala akong mag-friend. Pero ako po, teacher, nakalimutan ko. Okay, go speaker, after class, and go to the final. After doing your assignment, and lastly, this is punishment used to decrease unwanted behavior.
Operant conditioning. It is a learning method occurs through reward and punishment for behavior, where an association is made between a behavior and consequences. It is developed by B.F. Skinners. It possesses that behavior followed by positive consequences are being repeated, while those followed negative consequences are discouraged.
So now let's proceed to the classroom application. So I know you are already familiar in this because we already tackled behaviorism in other subject. So the first one is teacher use behavior strategies such as rewarding students with praise, tokens, or privileges for correct behavior. So this is a positive reinforcement. So this strategy means that teachers give rewards when student shows good behavior. The reward can be praise, tokens, or privileges. So for example, if a student nakatubag og sakto sa teacher, so as a teacher, of course, you will give a praise or tokens. So if a tokens, or for example, is sticker that is kanang equivalent siya sa point, or like something kanang random things like food or things. And the second one is behavior modification strategy can be applied such as giving consequences. So detentions or loss of privileges for undesirable behavior. So in this strategy focuses on changing behavior by giving consequences. If a student do something inappropriate, the student give fair and appropriate consequences so the student learns that their behavior is not acceptable. So for example, so this is common to elementary or high school students. So like if a student is banhaan, so as a teacher you will give him or her a punishment, like mo siyang patubagon, and if dili katubag, ang student will remain standing, or else imo siyang pabalhinon og laing lingkuranan. So the next is drills and practice. So repetition of tasks such as solving math problems or spelling helps reinforce learned behavior. So this strategy is that idea in repeating the task helps students remember and master a skill. So the more they practice, the better they become. So for example, in this is solving multiplication problem every day, or reading the same paragraph again to improve their reading skills. So that's all for the classroom application.
Okay, there are three key points to remember in behaviorism. So the first is learning is observable and measurable. So when we say observable, learning can be seen in what a student does. When we say measurable, teachers can measure students through tests, quizzes, or activities. The second one is that reinforcement strengthens behaviors, while punishment weakens them. So when we say reinforcement, it is like a rewards or praise that helps students to repeat good actions. When we say punishment class, it is like a consequences that helps a student to stop that bad actions. Understand? Okay. And the last key points to remember is that behaviorism is highly effective for skills development and classroom management. So when we say highly effective for skills development, behaviorism helps students to learn skills by practice and repetition. It also helps teachers to manage the class by using rules, rewards, and consequences. So that would be all, and thank you.